One of the things that we talk about in thinking about the Black church, we're thinking about the inner city churches. But the largest density of Black churches is in rural areas that are sitting on land that they have not developed. And I think that we've got to really look at a much larger space on the Black churches, not just Brooklyn and Chicago and Houston, but it's in Salisbury, Maryland. It's in Chesapeake, Virginia. Those churches really are sitting on assets that they really need to amplify. I heard you say something the other day that I wanted you to unpack on gentrification. Because what I am finding is a lot of the people who are a part, John, of these inner city churches no longer live in the area where the church is. Right. They grew up and grew out. Right. And so they come back into town as tourists on Sundays. Yeah. I want you to repeat what it is that you said about gentrification and really where the church really has a role to play in that.
Well, I run my mouth so much, I don't know exactly what I said, but if I think what you're referring to is that, we keep talking about gentrification as if it's a bad thing. Gentrification is a good thing. The dictionary definition of gentrification is literally a movement to middle-class values. You want a move, that's what the rabbi was telling you. You want people who have assets or not just on there so that they have something to give back and know how to budget and so on and so forth. And so you just want that to be inclusive gentrification. You want it to look like you, to include you. But the minute you see white kids, 22 years old, with flip-flops and T-shirts on a bicycle driving through your neighborhood, that's not a tourist, right? They own something in your neighborhood, and don't hate on them. They're not the Klan coming in with fire torches and with hoods on. They didn't run nobody out. In order for them to buy, somebody had to sell. Right. Don't hate on them. Applaud them for being intelligent, right? Because what is inner city? An inner city in France is called Paris. Right. An inner city in the UK is called London. Right. An inner city in Turkey is called Istanbul. An inner city in Japan is called Tokyo. This is centrally located, valuable real estate. They put us in it to penalize us as other folks move to the suburbs. Right. In the middle of the 20th century, they didn't want to be around us. They created their own neighborhoods out wherever. That didn't work. Not crime. Traffic got horrible. They don't want to drive an hour. By the way, offices are coming back. Right. You heard it here. People said after 9/11, New York will never come back. You can't. You walk down the street in New York, little kid, 3 years old, kicking you in the knees. You can't. Right. It's somebody pushing you off the stair. They said DC wasn't coming back. Offices will come back. It's going to take a minute. So the traffic's coming back. We're already seeing it, by the way.
Oh yes.
But these inner cities are 5 minutes from jobs, 5 minutes from transportation, 5 minutes from infrastructure downtown. This is invaluable real estate, and we should own some of it. Now, let me go back. Let me tie these two things together, because whether it's urban, black and brown, or rural, black and brown, or poor white, what we found with data, I love data. We had Experian pull every zip code in America by credit score.
Wow.
I just did I had a hunch. My hunch was now more than correct. Like there's like a 1% margin of error, what I'm about to tell you. We literally have been looking for love in all the wrong places. The data is unimpeachable, and it says this. All of our problems, crime, murder, mayhem, drugs, depression, poverty, are in 500 credit score neighborhoods. And in that neighborhood, by the way, black and brown urban or white poor, here's what you see. A check casher, target marketing, next to a payday loan lender. Yeah. Next to a rent-to-own store. Next to a title lending store. Next to a pawn shop. Next to a liquor store, if I didn't say it already.
Yeah.
You guys starting to get a visual? And down the street is the church. That's your neighborhood psychologist. That's the only positive thing in this story, trying to make sure you don't go cray-cray once a week. Black folks riot on the streets. My poor white friends riot at the ballot box.
Wow.
You live to 61 years old in a 580 credit score neighborhood. What is the age for Social Security? Am I talking to myself?
No, not at all.
65. By the way, I'm not saying some communities. On average, if you live in a 500 credit score neighborhood, you live to 61. Actually, it's 580. It's worse as you get further down. If you live in a 700 credit score neighborhood of any race, which is typically 15 minutes away, you live to 81. It's a 20-minute delta. I'm sorry, a 20-year loss of life because of your credit score and your zip code. And all the other numbers follow. 26% home ownership rate to 40% home ownership rate in a 580 credit score neighborhood. 75% plus in a 700 credit score neighborhood. The violent crimes per 1,000 off the chain in the 580 credit score neighborhood, almost non-existent in the 700 credit score neighborhood. The high school equivalency, again, this is completely consistent. It's 61 to 65% in a 580 credit score neighborhood. We don't emphasize education. Right. In the 700 credit score neighborhood, is 96%, which means they're going on to higher education. The numbers, you just keep on and on and on. The data is unimpeachable. If you just get you want to change America? You want to change our neighborhoods?
Yeah.
Everybody listen to this. Create a block club and commit that within, I'm gonna make it easy, within 2 years, then you can do it in a year. Everybody in my neighborhood on my blocks and have a 700 credit score. Problem solved. Because 700 credit score neighborhoods don't riot, they go shopping.
Wow.
There's never been a riot in a 700 credit score neighborhood that was neighborhood located in the history of America. I don't mean somebody ran through. Right. I'm talking about people who live there.
Right.
Because they're shareholders, they're stock owners, they're real estate owners. You're not burning up your own stuff. Nobody washes a rental car.
Right.
So literally, the Malcolm X quote comes again. We've been bamboozled. We've been tricked. We've been fooled. And now you have fools talking. I'm not talking about the church, and I'm talking in general. You have fools talking like experts. You have people running around on Instagram talking about their financial influencers.
Right.
Now, wait a minute. What business did you build?
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm just asking a question. How many employees do you have? What's your payroll? Okay, that's too complicated. Do you own a home? Your own home, or are you renting?
Right.
Okay, I see you got a fancy car. Did you lease that or do you own it? And is that your only asset? Like, what's your qualification to be a financial influencer? Because you're selling books and tapes. You're selling books and tapes to tell other people how to be successful, and that's how you're successful. See, we're looking for love in all the wrong places. Go to somebody who's an expert. I can come and talk to you about faith because that's what you do.
Yes.
I was sitting down with T.I., Killer Mike, all friends of ours, billionaire Tony Ressler, 350th richest man in the world, wealthiest, nice guy, owns the Atlanta Hawks. In the audience, Ambassador Andrew Young, that's on stage. In the audience was Bishop T.D. Jakes. And I'm riffing about something. And T.I., who loves to mess with me, I said, well, this person, no, I'll make this easy. It was about home ownership, but I said, he was talking about banking. Oh, the bank, why should I put my money there? I keep all this money there. They don't help me. I said, because you know the teller. You're T.I., but you know the bank. I don't even know your business and I know your business. Let me guess. You know who the branch manager is. You know who the teller is. Maybe you know the vice president in the area. Who's the CFO? Who's the CEO of the bank?
Right, not the branch.
No. That's why you're not getting nowhere with the bank, because it's relationship capital. The teller can't do nothing for you.
Right.
The branch manager can't do nothing for you. I said, let me ask you something. So I said, you want to give me a lecture about money. When I went to the studio, you talked to me about publishing rights, licensing rights. You told all this terminology. I knew not. I shut up and I listened. When I go to faith, I come to Reverend Bryant, I go to Bishop Jakes, I go to Reverend Cecil Chip Murray. I shut up and I listen. I want to talk about civil rights, social justice. I go to Ambassador Andrew Young. I go to Bernice A. King. I shut up and I listen. I want to talk about wealth creation at a massive level. I go to Tony Ressler and I shut up and I listen. When I talk to you about money and banking and finance, shut up and listen. We are looking for love. Look, the beautiful part about this conversation, it's not complicated.
Yeah, but our people are dying of the lack of knowledge, John. When you look at, I think it's 88% of black people, 88% of black people don't own a singular piece of stock.
Oh no, it's worse than that. Let me tell you. Here's a shock for you.
Yeah.
You need to pray on this one. If we do nothing but what we're doing right now, Black America, somebody's sitting there listening. Oh, this will solve itself, John. Yeah, I don't need to worry about this. By the way, what I'm about to tell you is before AI hits us, before artificial intelligence rockets our whole economy. Before that, okay. If we do nothing, Black America, but what we're doing, by 2052. Black America is scheduled to have a net worth of 0.
Say that again slower. Say that again slower. Somebody just crashed into the median of the highway.
There's 45 million black people, African Americans. If we do nothing but what we're doing right now, the same trajectory, all of us, not poor people, all of us, the scheduled net worth of the black community in a capitalist democracy country, which is the largest economy on the planet, is scheduled to be 0. Now, I want, while we're flossing here, all of us, I want you to think about this one. Because I put on Twitter I came back from Africa, so proud. We need to be to Africa what Jews are to Israel, a resource. And then all these responses back, I don't want to go to Africa. What am I doing in Africa? All those poor people in Africa. You ignorant. Look, there are right now 200 plus companies on the continent of Africa with $1 billion of annual revenue run by black people.
200.
Plus, in 54 countries on the African continent, there are more than 200 black African companies with $1 billion of annual revenue. Now, I didn't even say net worth. Now, we've got some brothers that have a net worth. Unfortunately, we can name them. I mean, most of them are entertainment, sports. By the way, they went into business. LeBron, all that kind of stuff. My man Don Peoples, a real estate guy, he's $1 billion net worth. But it's just so bad we can name them. There's so few of them, right? But that doesn't mean you have $1 billion in annual revenue. Revenue means you have a company, a platform with employees and contracts and vendors and offices and infrastructure. I said something radical when Obama was president, and I served Obama as an advisor. And people thought I was hating on Obama. I said, well, I'm proud that we have a black president. God bless him. He's brilliant. No buts. Right. And it would be more important to have a black Bill Gates than a black president. Because 88% of all jobs in America come from the private sector. And the government gets its revenue from us.
Right.
So we need people who can produce jobs and contracts and opportunities at scale. So Africa's moving in the right direction. We're moving in the wrong, even though we're the most endowed, successful group of black people on the planet.
Yes.
Today, we're literally lighting ourselves on fire. We're literally turning away from the light.
While dousing ourselves in gasoline.
In broad daylight.
Yeah. Yes.
So people say, why are you so exercised? Because the house is on fire.
Yeah.
And I can see it. Yeah. And we are brilliant. This is an intentional campaign to distract us. Ambassador Andrew Young said this: to live in a system of free enterprise and not to understand the rules of free enterprise must be the very definition of slavery.
Wow. Wow. Ambassador, if you happen to listen to this, I'm still in that wholesale. There are people